Okay, because of Winn-Dixie. Anniversary edition, 20 years. One girl, one dog, one summer. Chapter 1. My name is India Opal Bologna, and last summer my daddy, the pre-teacher, sent me to the store for a box of macaroni and cheese, some white rice, and 2 tomatoes, and I came back with a dog. This is what happened. I walked into the produce section of the Winn-Dixie grocery store to pick out my 2 tomatoes and almost bumped right into the store manager. He was standing right there, all red-faced, screaming and waving his arms around. "Who let that dog in here?" He kept on shouting, "Who let that dirty dog in here?" At first, I didn't see a dog. There was just a lot of vegetables rolling on the floor. Tomato, onions, and green peppers. And there what seemed like a whole army of Winn-Dixie employees running around waving their arms, just like the store manager. And then came a dog running around the corner. He was a big dog and ugly. He looked like he was having a really good time. His tongue hanging out and wagging his tail. He skipped to the smile and smiled right at me. I had never in my life before seen a dog smile. That is what he did. He pulled back his lips and showed me all of his teeth. Then he wagged his tail so hard that he knocked some oranges off a display and they went rolling everywhere, mixing into the tomatoes and onions and green peppers. The manager screamed, "Somebody grab that dog!" The dog went running over to the manager, wagging his tail and smiling. He stood up on his hind legs. Could you tell that all he wanted to do was get face to face with the manager and thank him for the good time he was having in the produce department, but somehow he ended up knocking the manager over. The manager must have been having a really bad day because lying there on the floor right in front of everybody, he started to cry. The dog leaned over him, real concentrated, and licked his face. "Please," said the manager, "somebody call the pound." "Wait a minute," I hollered. "That's my dog. Don't call the pound." All of Winn-Dixie employees turned and looked at me. I knew I had done something big and maybe stupid too, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't let the dog go to the pound. "Here, boy," I said. The dog stopped licking the manager's face and put his ears up in the air and looked at me, like he was trying to remember where he knew me from. "Here, boy," I said it again, and then I figured that the dog was probably like everybody else in the world, that he would want to get called by a name. Only that I didn't know what his name was, so the first thing that came into my head, I said, "Here, Winn-Dixie," and the dog came trotting over to me just like he had been doing it all right. Manager sat up and gave me a big hard stare, like maybe I was making fun of him. "It's his name," I said, honest. The manager said, "Don't you know not to bring a dog in the grocery store?" "Yes, sir," I told him. He had gotten by a mistake. "I'm sorry, it won't happen again." "Come on, Winn-Dixie," I said to the dog. I started walking and he followed along behind me as I went out of the produce department and down the cereal aisle past all the cashiers and out the door. Once we were safe outside, I checked him over real carefully and he didn't look that good. Big but skinny. You could see his ribs. And there were bald patches all over him, places where he didn't have fur at all. See, he looked like a big piece of old brown carpet that had been left out in the rain. "You're a mess," I told him. "I bet you don't belong to anybody." He smiled to me. He did that thing again, where he pulled back his lips and showed me his teeth. He smiled so big that it made him sneeze. It was like he was saying, "I know I'm a mess. Isn't it funny?" It's hard not to immediately fall in love with a dog who has a good sense of humor. "Come on," I told him. "Let's see what the pre-teacher has to say about you." And the two of us, me and Winn-Dixie, started walking home.
There is a man.